Great. Hi, so yeah, it's great to be here. I'm John. I'm a co-founder of GoNative.io. We are a company we've been working on for about a year, and basically what we do is very simple. We take existing websites and web applications, and we convert them automatically to native Android and iPhone and iPad apps. There's other solutions out there that do that as well.
You can feedback.
Thanks. But our goal is to do it in a way that actually feels native, that actually gives you a result that actually feels native to users. I don't know what I just put on the screen, but to show you an example, why is this only happening with me? I mean, I can turn this off and forget it.
I think it's the vacuum cleaner.
Oh, really? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so here's a quick example. And that BostonGlobe.com. Okay, this is just a sample website to show you how this works. Boston Globe, they've got already an existing mobile-friendly website. It works pretty well. Now I'll take that. I can go onto our site. You basically type in, Boston. Type in with one hand here. You type it in. It basically crawls your site. You choose some different options. Users can log in here. Users can sign up here. We want native navigation. Pick an icon. Pick a name for the app, etc. I don't know whose that is. This is turning out to be the best demo ever. So here's Boston Globe. I launch it, and this is Boston Globe as an app. Okay, it's just taken the website, and it's actually just wrapped it in an app. This is pretty simple. You can deploy this to the app stores. You can download this, put it on your home screen, etc. But in addition to that, besides just putting and serving the page content using the web, we've actually seamlessly integrated a bunch of different native components so that all the interactions with this site actually feel good to the user. So for example, the old website navigation is gone, and we've replaced it with just a sidebar navigation, okay? When you click a link, it loads natively and gives you the result just like a website would. When you go to log in, it swaps out the web login form with a native login form. And there's a lot of different components that will dynamically swap out. We'll take the web component that doesn't feel great on a mobile phone, that doesn't feel native to a user, and we will swap that out with basically what the iOS 7 best practices for that type of interaction. So far we've been working on this for about a year. Works on Android and iPhone. So far we've worked with a handful of startups and universities and other companies to build apps and published apps, and we think that this type of approach to native app building, it doesn't get you all the way there in terms of what full-on native development can do, but it gets you to a result that's fairly comparable in most cases if you've already built a decent mobile web application at an absolute fraction of the cost. And you can actually generate these apps in under a minute. So if you were to go to our website after this or any time, type in a URL, do a little configuration, you don't need to do anything to test it out, and click build. Literally 1 minute later, you'll get an email, you'll be able to show the iPhone app or iPad app in a simulator, and you can then publish that app if you want it directly. So the whole reason why I think this is a great idea is because app development has gotten really expensive, really cumbersome. It's a pain in the butt. And once you've got that thing built, you're making changes to your product, you're iterating, you're evolving, you're maintaining 3 or more code bases. So you want to make a tweak to your website, you probably want to make that same tweak in the native Android app, same tweak to the native iPhone app, etc. And maintenance is actually a huge cost as well. With this solution, you focus on your web application. And you ought to build a nice website, and you ought to make that responsive these days, because the modern web is very powerful, it's very fast, and it's very easy to make sites look decent on an iPad, 7-inch tablet, or a smartphone like the iPhone. And once you've done that, we think that this type of technology where you're wrapping it in a native shell, but doing it in a way where the results feel native to the users, and you see the same types of fully native controls that users expect in other marquee apps, is a great way to achieve a great mobile strategy at a fraction of the cost and fraction of the hassle. So anyway, that's our value prop, and I'll open up to questions, and we're mostly here to get feedback from all sorts of people, including developers and also customers. People that this might be a useful thing for them. We'd love to work with you and just show you how far this approach can take you. I think you'll be surprised.
What's your revenue model?
Yeah, so in app building, I stole this phrase from someone else, but you can build, a tent or you can build a mansion. There's a lot of different types of apps built today. We are considering either a free trial than a pay-for-service, more transactional, or subscription-based. There is ongoing value added through push notifications, analytics, updates. iOS 8 comes out. This is sort of meant to be this turnkey service where you just focus on the web application, and we'll do the rest on Android and iPhone. But yeah, there's kind of a range in what some customers are paying us a few $100s. We just got one that's paying a few $1,000. So anyway.
Can you talk a little more about analytics? Do you sync with third-party analytic providers like Google Analytics or GoNative or something like that?
Yeah. So the way that we've actually designed and built the technology, we control all the HTTP requests pretty intimately, so we can get in there. So you can do things like override CSS. If you want to use RNAV, you probably want to hide the web navigation, for example. Other things might be the viewport. So if you are trying to design a site, and it's a fixed width site, and you're trying to build it for a mobile phone, you may need to override the viewport of the device so that everything looks good on the small screen. We can also add in JavaScript. So for a few clients, we've added in just a JavaScript to every page load, and it basically will load an analytics package of their choice. So you really have a lot of control over the content that's loaded.
So how do you guys handle single page applications? There's a lot of websites that are switching over to those.
Yeah, so single page apps are actually great for this because as they're built, they're very high performance. So even without single page apps, people talk about native versus web and how there's this big performance difference. There's really not anymore. And I'd love to debate that with anyone after this. But the modern web, if you built for the modern web well, it's blazingly fast, and it should be. Plus, all native apps use web API endpoints more or less anyway. So they're still using the web as a backend anyway. Just to show you a quick single page app, I can show you afterwards, but it's really fast and it works really well.
And that's using your system?
Yeah, so basically instead of calling a URL in the menu, we just call a JavaScript click event, and it just runs like a normal click would work.
Can you talk a little bit about the App Store, Apple App Store approval process?
I'd love to. Yeah, let's go get a few beers. Yeah, if anyone's had to do that, they know it's a big pain in the butt. So for Android, you basically just upload an APK and you're done, and it's in the App Store within an hour or two. Apple takes about a week, a little less than a week, and they will reject apps for all sorts of reasons. So one of the reasons, I'm not sure where you're going with the process, but we haven't had a problem getting apps published in the Apple App Store. Where I think what Apple doesn't like is just to take a website and wrap it in a shell and deploy it. Because they say, okay, that interferes with mobile Safari. If you do that with mobile Safari, why does this have to be a native app? We won't clutter our App Store with that. Which is, it's fine. That Apple App Store is a lot less clutter than Google Play Store. We actually do a lot of native work. caching, performance tweaking, native components here and there. And so our apps generally pass that hurdle.
You mentioned you customize the apps for some clients. Can the client themselves customize them?
Yeah, at this point we haven't made it totally extensible, but we're a startup and we want to help people and make this useful for people, so that's definitely on the horizon. There's a lot of things you can already do without that, but certainly there's things that clients will want to do themselves.
What is the impact of operating system upgrades on these applications?
So like iOS 8 comes out or Android 4.5 or something? Yeah, so well, normally what happens is there's an upgrade and then everybody tries to then go update their apps. I think the idea is that we're this turnkey service, so like the day iOS 8 comes out, we'll have an update to iOS 8 and push it out for all the clients. So this is really meant to be a turnkey service where you focus on building a great web app experience, and we'll take care of packaging that in a beautiful native way for all the native platforms. I think this might be the last one.
Are you trying to address the self-serve market, or are you trying to go after the customized, enterprise kind of market?
Yeah, that's a good question, and something we're still wrestling with ourselves. Whether we want to target non-technical people, or whether we want to partner with developers and dev shops. Right now we're doing both. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Come join New England's largest technology meetup, sponsor an event, present, or attend. Visit www.bostonnewtech.org.